December 25, 1977. A small house in Vevey, Switzerland. Charlie Chaplin takes his last breath surrounded by his family. He is 88 years old. The world mourns the loss of cinema's greatest comedian, the man who made billions laugh across a century of chaos and war. But here's what they didn't know. Charlie Chaplin rarely laughed himself. The man who perfected joy on screen lived a life saturated with grief. Behind the iconic Tramp, the hopeful vagabond with a cane and a dream, stood a broken child who never escaped his past. This is the story of the mask Chaplin wore, the pain he buried, and the tragedy of making others happy while drowning in your own sorrow. This is the story of a man who gave the world laughter but kept none for himself. London, 1895. Charlie Chaplin was born into poverty so severe it defies modern comprehension. His father, an alcoholic music hall performer, abandoned the family early. His mother, Hannah, a talented singer, struggled with mental illness that would eventually consume her. At 5 years old, Charlie witnessed his mother's breakdown on stage. She was performing at a theater when her voice cracked, failing mid-song. The audience booed. They threw coins and bottles. Hannah collapsed in humiliation. The theater manager, desperate to salvage the night, pushed young Charlie onto the stage. The boy didn't freeze. He sang, he danced, he mimicked his mother's style, and the crowd roared with laughter. They threw more coins, this time in appreciation. Charlie collected the money from the stage floor, holding it tight. It was the first time he understood. Pain could be converted into applause. Suffering could be sold as entertainment, but the cost was invisibility. The audience never saw Charlie. They saw a performance. By age 7, Charlie and his half-brother Sidney were sent to a workhouse, a Victorian institution for the destitute. Children worked grueling hours, slept in freezing dormitories, and ate watery gruel. Punishment was brutal. Dignity was a luxury. Charlie's mother was committed to an asylum. Her mental illness had progressed into full psychosis. She believed she was being poisoned. She screamed at invisible enemies. She didn't recognize her sons. Charlie visited her when he could. He would sit beside her bed, watching her stare blankly at the walls, muttering to ghosts. Those visits haunted him forever. In his autobiography, he wrote, "I have often wondered if that is where my comedy was born, out of the need to escape unbearable reality. The workhouse taught Charlie survival through invisibility. Don't cry, don't complain, don't let them see your pain. Smile, perform, disappear into a character." It was training for a lifetime of hiding. By 1914, Chaplin was in Hollywood, working for Max Sennett's Keystone Studios. He was 24 years old, already a seasoned performer from years in British music halls. But he wasn't satisfied. Keystone's slapstick felt shallow, violent, chaotic, meaningless. Chaplin wanted something more. He wanted comedy with soul. One day, preparing for a film, he improvised a costume: oversized pants, tight jacket, battered bowler hat, tiny mustache, and a bamboo cane. The outfit was absurd, a collision of contradictions: wealthy and poor, dignified and ridiculous, hopeful and defeated. The Tramp was born, but the Tramp wasn't just a character, it was a mirror. The Tramp represented every underdog, every dreamer crushed by circumstance, every person who kept smiling despite the world's cruelty. The Tramp was Charlie's childhood, repackaged as universal empathy. Audiences didn't just laugh at the Tramp, they recognized him, they loved him, because the Tramp never gave up. No matter how many times he was kicked, beaten, or humiliated, he always stood back up, adjusted his hat, and kept walking. That resilience wasn't fiction, it was Chaplin's survival mechanism. By the 1920s, Charlie Chaplin was the most famous person on earth. His films played in every country. His face was instantly recognizable. He was richer than royalty, more influential than politicians. But fame didn't erase the pain, it amplified it. Chaplin became obsessed with control. He wrote, directed, produced, and starred in his films. He composed the music. He edited every frame. He demanded hundreds of takes, perfecting moments that lasted seconds. His crew called him a genius and a tyrant in the same breath. Why the obsession? Because control was safety. If he controlled every aspect of his art, art. He controlled how the world saw him. He could hide behind perfection, but perfection is exhausting and lonely. Chaplin's personal life was a disaster. His first marriage to 16-year-old Mildred Harris when he was 29 ended in scandal. His second to 16-year-old Lita Gray when he was 35 ended in a vicious divorce that nearly bankrupted him. His third to actress Paulette Goddard ended quietly after years of emotional distance. Critics accused him of predatory behavior. The age gaps were disturbing even by the standards of the time. Chaplin's defenders argued he was searching for the innocent love he never received as a child. His detractors called it exploitation. Both were probably true. In 1952, Chaplin made Limelight, a film about an aging comedian who has lost his ability to make people laugh. The character, Calvero, is haunted by the fear of irrelevance, terrified that the world has moved on without him. It was Chaplin's most personal film, and his saddest. In one scene, Calvero says, "What a sad business being funny." That line wasn't dialogue, it was confession. By this point, Chaplin's life was collapsing. The FBI had labeled him a communist sympathizer. The US government was preparing to exile him. His films were being banned. His reputation was under attack, and he was alone. His fourth wife, Una O'Neill, 36 years younger than him, was his only anchor. She stayed with him through exile, through public humiliation, through the slow decline of his relevance. She gave him 8 children and, for the first time in his life, something resembling stability. But even love couldn't heal the wound that had been open since childhood. Chaplin rarely discussed his mental health. Depression wasn't a diagnosis in his era, it was weakness, so he buried it. He worked, he performed, he hid behind the Tramp's eternal optimism. But those close to him saw the truth. He had episodes of deep melancholy where he couldn't get out of bed. He drank heavily. He isolated himself for weeks. He wrote obsessively, filling notebooks with dark thoughts he never shared publicly. In his autobiography, published late in life, he wrote, "I have known terror and loneliness so profound that I thought I might disappear entirely." That sentence is haunting because Chaplin did disappear, not physically, but emotionally. He disappeared into his characters, into his films, into the mask of the tramp. He gave the world his art and kept his pain locked away. Charlie Chaplin made a career out of finding humor in suffering. The tramp was always hungry, always broke, always rejected, but always hopeful. That hope resonated because it felt earned, not naive. The tramp knew pain intimately. His optimism was defiance, not ignorance. But Chaplin himself couldn't sustain that defiance in his own life. He created joy for others because he couldn't create it for himself. He made people laugh because laughter was the only currency he understood. He spent a lifetime perfecting the art of appearing happy while feeling empty. That's the cruelest irony of all. The greatest comedian in history was never funny to himself. In his last decade, Chaplin lived quietly in Switzerland. He rarely spoke to the press. He didn't watch his old films. They were too painful, too full of memories he'd rather forget. In 1972, Hollywood invited him back for an honorary Oscar. He returned to Los Angeles for the first time in 20 years. The audience gave him a 12-minute standing ovation. He stood there, tears streaming down his face, unable to speak. It wasn't joy, it was grief. Grief for the years lost to exile. Grief for the childhood he never had. Grief for the man he might have been if the world had been kinder. He returned to Switzerland immediately after the ceremony. He never came back. Charlie Chaplin's story is a warning. Art is not therapy. Creating beauty doesn't heal trauma. Making others happy doesn't cure your own sadness. Chaplin spent his life giving the world laughter, and the world took it greedily, never asking what it cost him. He was celebrated, worshipped, immortalized, but he was never truly seen. Because the world didn't want Charlie, they wanted the tramp. They wanted the fantasy of resilience, the illusion that suffering could be overcome with a smile and a dance. But real suffering doesn't work that way. Today, Chaplin's films are studied in universities. His image is iconic. He is remembered as a genius, a pioneer, a legend, but rarely is he remembered as a victim of poverty, a victim of mental illness, a victim of a society that demanded he perform happiness while offering him none. Chaplin's greatest trick wasn't making people laugh. It was convincing them he was okay. He wasn't, and maybe see, that's the real lesson. The people who make us laugh the hardest are often the ones who are hurting the most. Charlie Chaplin made the world smile, but he never learned how to smile for himself.